Good morning to everyone. This is Mohanapriya, your English teacher speaking. Today we are going to see about second unit Prose, A Nice Cup of Tea by George Orwell. Before going into the lesson, let us see author introduction. Eric Arthur Blair is the real name of George Orwell. George Orwell is the pen name of Blair. Pen name is a name which is used for writing. While writing any of their work, they use this kind of name. So here Eric Arthur Blair used George Orwell as his pen name. He was an English novelist, essayist, journalist and critic whose work is marked by a clear prose, awareness of social inequity, opposition to totalitarianism, and candid support of democratic socialism. He was totally for the people, by the people, of the people, and he was against the dominators like Hitler. He don't like the people, one who suppress and torture the people. He is totally for the people, by the people, and of the people. He is a man of equality. A Nice Cup of Tea is Orwell's writing, one of the very good and the most important and the best writings. Orwell wrote literary criticism, poetry, fiction, and polemic journalism. He is the best. Polemic journalism is one of the story kind of journalist called polemic journalism. He is best known for the allegorical novella Animal Farm and dystopia novel 1984 in 1949. In 2008, the Times ranked him second on the list of the 50 greatest British writers since 1945. Times, the Times have given a list of greatest writers in British, that too from 1945. Among the 50, our George Orwell stands second. It is the most privileged position he hold during that period. Now let us go into the text. Read the following essay in which George Orwell highlights shows the distinct clear features of preparing a nice cup of tea. If you look up tea in the first cookery book that comes to hand, you will probably find that it is unmentioned, or at most you will find a few lines of sketchy instructions which give no ruling on several of the most important points. If at all you look into the cookery book, you cannot see anything have mentioned regarding the tea. At the same time, if at all they have mentioned something, it might be a smaller sketch or one or two lines. They did not give elaborate notes on how to make a tea. This actually hurts the author. This is curious, interesting, not only because tea is one of the mainstay important of civilization in this country as well as in IRS, Ireland, Australia and New Zealand, but because the best manner of making it is the subject of violent dispute argument. Though it is the most important thing in the civilization in all over the country from Ireland to New Zealand, still it is the subject is how to make the tea is the great argument. Nobody has given a clear picture. When I look through my own recipe for the perfect cup of tea, I find no fewer than 11 outstanding points. When the author think about the preparation of tea, he had 11 points in his mind. On perhaps two of them there would be pretty general agreement, but at least four others are actually controversial. Here are my own 11 rules, every one of which I regard as golden. The author is giving 11 rules and he himself is accepting that among the 11 rules, two will be the general, that is, it will be accepted by all, and at the same time, four will be surely a argumentative point and it will give so many disputes among the people. But whatever it may be, according to him, he is saying it will surely be a golden points for everyone. And he was starting with the first point. First point, see, this is the second point. First point, first of all, one should use Indian or Ceylonese tea. China tea has virtues which are not to be despised nowadays. It is economical. First of all, he was saying one should use India or Ceylonese tea. They can use either Indian tea or Ceylonese tea. China tea has virtues. Virtues means good qualities, admirable qualities, which are not to be despised. It should not be hated. Despised means hated. Indian tea or Ceylonese tea, among the two teas, China tea has the admirable qualities and it should not be hated. Despised means hated. Nowadays it is economical too. He was saying it was economical too. That is, it is of low price. One can drink it without milk, but there is no stimulation in it. One can drink without milk, but there is no stimulation, means there will not be any shrewdness when you drink a tea. It must tickle your sense, but it is not at all tickling the sense. It just for like drinking water, it has a sense like that. One does not feel wiser, braver, or more optimistic. Optimistic is positive point. No, if they drink Ceylonese tea, Ceylonese, that is Chinese tea, or else they cannot create any stimulation, optimism, but it is economical. At the same time, one cannot feel wiser and braver too. Anyone who has used that comforting phrase, a nice cup of tea, invariably means Indian tea. If at all anyone want to use the term, a nice cup of tea, it only suits the Indian tea. Actually, he is a British writer, but he was saying a nice cup of tea phrase is apt only for Indian tea. Second point, secondly, tea should be made in small quantity, that is in a teapot. Tea out of an urn is always tasteless, while army tea made in cauldron tastes of grease or whitewash. The teapot should be made of china or earthenware. Secondly, the tea should be made in very small quantity. If you prepare in a very large quantity, that too in urn and all, it won't be taste. It will be tasteless. And army tea, which always will be made in cauldron, that too it will be made in larger quantity, so it tastes like grease and whitewash. The teapot should be made of either china or earthenware. Silver or Britannia ware teapots produce inferior taste. The author here was giving us the hint that we can prepare the tea either in chinaware or earthenware, but preparing tea in silver or Britannia ware will surely give the inferior taste. Enamel pots are worse. He was comparing all the four kinds, that is chinaware, earthenware, silver, Britannia, enamel pot worse. Or worse, though curiously enough, a Pewster teapot a rarity nowadays. It is the availability of Pewster teapot is rare. So even if it we get, it is not so bad. It is not so good, it seems. The first point, what he was saying in the first point, among the India or Chinese tea, Ceylonese tea, Chinese tea, Indian tea is the best tea, he was saying. And in the second point, he was saying tea should be prepared only in small quantity, that too in either chinaware or else in earthenware. Remaining will not give a good taste here, according to the. Thirdly, the pot should be warmed beforehand. The pot should be warmed earlier. This is better done by placing it on a hob. Hob is a flat surface, than by the usual method of swilling it out with hot water. Swilling means pouring with hot water. Instead of keeping the kettle outside and pouring into it hot water, you can straight away keep the kettle on the burner and you can fill the water straight over there. Fourth, the tea should be strong for a part holding a quart. Quart is a unit of measurement of water. In Britain and US, they use this kind of measurement. In Britain, it is 1.13 liter, and in US, it is 0.94 liter. Here, approximately, we can take it as 1 liter. Quart, if you are going to fill it nearly to a brim, 6 heaped teaspoon would be about right. Here he was in this fourth point, the author is saying how we can prepare the tea. He was giving the measurement for approximately 1 liter of water. We can use 6 heaped teaspoon of the tea powder. In a time of rationing, this is not an idea that can be realized on every day of the week. That while rationing, that is while getting the things for the preparation of food, it can be realized that on every day of the week, but I maintain that one strong cup of tea is better than 20 weak ones. If you feel that your ration will not be enough for the whole month, you can make it into a single cup instead of making 20 weaker cup of tea. All true tea lovers not only like their tea strong but like it a little stronger with each year that passes. If you are a real lover of tea, surely your that the strongness of tea increases year after year. This can be proved by him by that old age pensioners, a fact which is recognized in the extra ration issued to old age pensioners. While the old age pensioners getting the ration, they are getting extra tea because of the usual habit of taking or strengthening the tea year after year. Fifthly, the tea should be put straight into the pot, not strainers, muslin bags, or other devices to imprison the tea. The tea powder should be straight away put into the water so that it can get a stronger, dense thickness. In some countries, teapots are fitted with little dangling basket under the spout to catch the stray leaves. To filter the leaves, they'll have some muslin bags, which are supposed to be harmful. Actually, one can swallow tea leaves in considerable quantity without ill effort. And if the tea is not loose in the pot, it never infuses properly. That is, according to the author, he is saying the tea powder must be put straight away into the water. You should not arrest the tea powder either by the muslin bags or with any other kind of imprisonment process. Or else he was saying you should not use even strainers. If you swallow some of the things, it won't harm you in any way, he was saying. Sixthly, one should take the teapot to the kettle and not other way about. Only tea kettle must be taken to the teapot must be taken to the kettle so that we can maintain the heat of the water. The water should be actually poured at the moment of impact, which means that one should keep it on the flame while one pours. That hotness must be maintained, so it must be kept always in the flame, he was saying. Some people add that one should only use water that has been freshly brought to the boil. According to some people, they are saying only fresh water we should use for preparing tea, but I have never noticed that it makes any difference. But author says it is not at all making any difference whether it is a fresh water or normal water. Tea is a tea. It has that the taste does not differs in water. Seventhly, after making the tea, one should stir it or better give a part a good shake, afterwards allowing the leaf to settle. In our house, we normally do this. After making the tea, we used to close the kettle or close the teapot for a while so that it will get more denser. The same process he is saying. Eighthly, one should drink out of a good breakfast cup, that is the cylindrical type of cup. not the flat shallow type. The breakfast cup holds more, and with the other kind ones is always half full before one has well started on it. His suggestion is that one should drink tea only in the cylindrical cup. If he use any shallow type, it will get cooler soon, then you will not get the real taste of the tea. Ninthly, one should pour the cream off the milk before using it for tea. Milk is too creamy, always gives a tea a sicky taste. Before pouring the tea into the milk or milk into the tea, you should remove the cream away from the milk, since if you have the cream, it gives a sickly taste. The taste will not be so nice. Tenthly, it is the controversial point where he was coming to say. He has already said in the first introduction. Tenthly, one should pour tea into a cup first. This is one of the most controversial, unacceptable point of all. Indeed, in every family in Britain, there are probably two schools of thought on the subject. In Britain, two kind of people. That is, one people says that you must pour milk first. Another people says that you must pour tea first. The milk first school can bring forward some fairly strong argument, but I maintain that my own argument is unanswerable. This is that by putting the tea is in first and stirring as one pours, one can exactly regulate the amount of milk, whereas one is liable to put in too much of milk if one does it on the other way. That author is giving a very good idea. If you pour the milk first and if you pour the tea next to it, you cannot get the correct amount and taste of tea. If you get the correct amount of tea, sometimes the milk may exceed, but at the same time, if you pour the tea first, you can mix the milk as per your wish, and as per the strongness of the tea you can adjust the milk, and if you want you can pour some more tea also. But at the same time, if you pour the milk first, means totally the whole thing will be collapsed. If the milk is over, or extra milk if you have in that decantation, you cannot separate it. So he is saying it is not advisable to pour milk first. It is very advisable that if you pour the tea first, it is the correct method, he was saying. Lastly, unless one is drinking it in the Russian style, should be drunk without sugar. One who is drinking the tea in Russian style means he should not add sugar. I know very well that I am in minority, but author used to add sugar for his tea, but still, how can you call yourself a true tea lover if you destroy the flavor of your tea by putting sugar in it? Still, he was asking the question, if you are a true lover of tea, how can you put or add sugar in it? He was asking. It would be equally responsible to put in pepper or salt, as if it is equal, that if you are adding pepper or salt, it won't taste it, or if you it is equal to spoiling the tea. Like that, he was saying. It is if you are add sugar, it is also like pepper or salt adding to your tea taste. If you sweeten it, you are no longer tasting the tea, you are merely tasting the sugar. You could make a very similar drink by dissolving sugar in plain hot water. Just if you are adding sugar means it is not at all a tea, it is a sugar. You are loving the taste of sugar and you are not at all enjoying the tea. If you are true lover of tea, you should not add the sugar in the tea. Some people would answer that they don't like tea in itself, that they drink it in order to be warmed or stimulated. They won't really like the tea just to keep themselves warm and have stimulation. They are having the tea and they need sugar to take. In that sense, they can add sugar just for to keep them warm. They are drinking tea, so they can add sugar. There is no problem in that. To those misguided people, I would say try drinking tea without sugar for say a fortnight, and it is very unlikely that you will ever want to ruin means destroy your tea by sweetening it again. Even though you are drinking to keep yourself warm, you just try for fortnights, some 14 nights or 14 days or 14 to 15 days, you will surely accustomed to the tea taste rather adding the sugar on it. These are the only controversial points to arise in connection with tea drinking, but they are sufficient to show how subtilize the whole business, subtilize, making more keen. The whole business has become. There is also a mysterious, incomprehensible social ethics. Ethics means behavior surrounding the teapot. See here. There are another these these are the these are not the only controversials. These are not only the controversials, but they are sufficient to show how subtilized the whole business has become. There is also the mysterious social ethic behavior surrounding the teapot. Why is it considered vulgar to drink out of your saucer, for instance? And much might be written about the subsidiary uses of tea leaves, such as telling fortunes, predicting the arrival of visitors, feeding rabbits, healing burns, and sweeping the carpet. It is worth paying attention to such details. It is worth paying attention to such details, or warming the pot and using water that is really boiling, so as to make quite sure of wringing out of one's ration the 20 good strong cup of that 2 ounce properly handled out to the represent represent. Now the in the last para, the author is saying there are not only controversial point to arise in connection with tea drinking, but they are sufficient to show how keen the whole business has become. That is, the whole thing is very, very clear that the social behavior regarding the tea and tea surroundings, we are not at all having the thing only for stimulation. Beyond that, we are having some other purposes also, or some other uses also in tea leaves. There is a few other uses of tea leaves. Are using tea leaves, they used to tell fortunes, that is luck, and they sometimes predict means foretell the arrival of visitors, and they also use to feed the rabbits with the tea leaves, and sometimes it is used to heal the burns, and it is used to clean the carpet too. What is really a new thing for us. It is worth paying attention to such details as warming the pot. The main thing now he is coming to say in this is the teapot should be kept warm, and instead of drinking 20 weak teas, it is very good to drink a cup of strong tea. This is the 2 points. The author is very strong about the tea preparation. Among these 11 points, in first point he is saying about the China tea and then Indian tea, and then in the second point he was saying that the tea should be prepared in small quantity, and in third point he was saying about that it must be kept in a proper way. In the fourth, it is given the preparation manual, that is one approximation 1 liter is 1 liter of water must be filled with 6 heaped teaspoon, and so that one strong tea will be enough when regarded with the 20 weaker ones. And fifth point he was saying that you should not use any tea pockets for tea. Sixth point he was saying that when one can use any kind of water, the water cannot change the taste of tea. And seventh point he was saying that it is better if you allow the tea to settle for some time. And then eighth point, he is asking us to drink the tea in cylindrical cup. And ninth point, he is asking us to remove the cream from the milk before pouring the tea. And tenth, there is a controversies that one whether to pour the tea first or milk first. According to author, if you pour the tea first, it will be very convenient. And in the last point, he was saying adding sugar to tea is merely spoiling the real taste of tea. But even the author himself use sugar in tea. And some people and then at last he was saying some people just to have to make themselves warm and to make themselves stimulant they are using sugar and tea. But even though even that people can change themselves if they used to drink tea without sugar for 15 days. And he was giving a few more uses of tea that tea can heal the burns. It is used to sweep the carpet, and it is also used to feed the rabbits, and it also predict the visitors, and it is used to tell the fortunes. Like that he was saying so many uses of tea leaves at last. And not but last least he was saying that the tea must be always warm. Warm means it must be always in a boiling point, and it is very important that the tea must be very strong. That is, it must 20 weak. It is not at all equal to 1 strong. So the tea must always be strong according to the author's point. Thank you.